Hello everyone, welcome to the third episode. In the first episode, I discussed about being proactive. This habit says that I am the creator of my own destiny. In second episode, I discussed about a habit begin with end in mind. It says I have to create my mission statement that reflects what I wish to achieve. It is a mental creation. So now in this episode I will discuss about habit 3, which is put first things first. This is the physical creation of the mental creation that was part of habit 2. So this is how to achieve what I wish to achieve. So this focuses on time management in an efficient way. It's about planning and executing every year, every month, every week, every day and every hour. The most important aspect of habit 3 is about priorities. So you have to manage time based on priorities. Let's see how we normally spend our time on every day. So there are two coordinates to this matrix. One is urgent, the other is important. Urgent is anything that needs to be done right now. It requires your attention right now. Important is anything that contributes to my mission and values from habit 2. Let's look at each of the quadrants. The fourth quadrant is interesting. It's not important, not urgent. So anything such as playing video games or spending time on Facebook on unimportant things that are not plan of your mission will fall under this quadrant. Let's see quadrant 3, which is urgent and not important. Say any distractions and any meetings that don't have an agenda and don't come up with an useful outcome fall in this category. And say any phone call, for example, a salesperson calls you and tries to sell insurance. It's not at all important, but it's a call, so it comes under urgent. So now let's see what's quadrant 1 about. Quadrant 1 is about urgent and important matters such as any emergencies or upcoming deadlines fall under this. They need your immediate attention. Let's go to the next important quadrant, which is quadrant 2, which is important and not urgent. So anything that you are lazy enough to do but are important, like exercising, finding your own mentor, developing some new skills, patenting, contributing to open source projects, doing some side projects, pursuing your hobbies, and any community service that you have been procrastinating. So it could be generating passive income or trying for financial independence. It could be building trust relationships with people. All these tasks are really important but not urgent, but these, if done, will bring a positive difference in our lives. So let's see on any given day how much time we normally spend in each of these quadrants. So if you are an ineffective person, then you are most likely be spending your time in quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, which are not really important, and some time is spent in quadrant 1. If you are a normal person, you will be spending most of the time in quadrant 1 and the rest in quadrant 4. The remaining two quadrants will be neglected. However, some people spend most of the time in quadrant 3, so they will be working on priorities and expectations of others rather than minding their own business, and the rest of the time they spend in Q1. So the most effective people spend most of the time in quadrant 2, which is very important, and the rest of the time in quadrant 1. As you start spending more time in quadrant 2, things that you are procrastinating and which are likely to become a Q1 activity will be completed beforehand, So your Q1 will gradually shrink if you spend more time in Q2. Let's see how to schedule our time and spend more time in quadrant 2. So it's always a better approach to plan on a weekly basis and adapt on a daily basis. So before we start planning for a week, it might be interesting to observe the next 7 days on how we really are spending our time. So every day before going to bed, maybe review all the things you have done, categorize them into these 4 quadrants and estimate the time spent in each quadrant. So this is a very good way to introspect. So after 1 week of introspection, if the analysis suggests that you haven't been spending enough time in quadrant 2, then we need to plan the next week such that most of the time is spent in quadrant 2 and the rest in quadrant 1. So this is just a sample template on how to plan. The first thing is identify all your roles, like you could be an individual for your own self, or it could be for your employer, or you could be an family member, you could be a brother or sister, or you could be daughter or son of a person. So that's your role, and for each role identify some goals that you wish to achieve in this week. For example, as an individual, I might want to be fit, so that's my goal. So I might want to allocate 1 hour exercise on 3 days of the week. So whether it's financial independence or investment planning or parenting or filing some patents, so plan as per your convenience and ensure that you spend a lot of time in quadrant 2. Well, so in the next slide I'll try to throw some light on how to allocate a lot of time in quadrant 2. So quadrant 2 is all about the first things that are the highest priority, that are very important for your mission. Well, of course you cannot borrow time from quadrant 1 because it's very urgent and important. So what I can do is I can say no to quadrant 3 and quadrant 4, which are not important. So I can just say no to them if I am smart enough. So how else can I be a quadrant 2 self-manager? So this can be achieved through something called delegation. Many people think delegation is hard and takes a lot of time and energy. They think they could just do the job themselves better. So, but however, it's not very hard if you learn it the right way. In general, we delegate either to time or to people. So if we are delegating to time, we should think of efficiency, and if we are delegating it to people, we should think of effectiveness, because efficiency is just the rate of results per unit of time. So if I am trying to be efficient with a disagreeing person, it might not work. For example, if I only allocate and spend 20 minutes to solve my child's problem, it might not really work because I am not really looking at the deepest concern involved or the root cause. So it will just create new problems. So always try to be effective with people and efficient with time. Let's discuss more about delegation. Delegation is all about transferring responsibility to a skilled or trained person so that I can spend my time and energy on another high leverage activity. So delegation helps in growth both for individuals and companies. Let's define what a producer and a manager is. A producer is one who invests 1 hour of effort to produce 1 unit of result. A manager is one who invests 1 hour of effort but produces n units of results by efficient delegation. Well, let's discuss about the 2 types of delegations that we have. The first type of delegation is called gopher. So generally if a producer becomes a manager, so for example a technical person who is good at doing something becomes a manager, he normally tends to perform gopher delegation. In this delegation the main focus is on methods, so it normally involves continuous one-on-one supervision of methods. So it will be like the manager will be prompting the producer, go for this, do this. So he'll be like he'll be providing instructions all the time at every step. So he's sort of involved in every move. That's go for delegation, which is not good, which is not an efficient or effective way of delegating things. The other type of delegation is called steward delegation. So this is quite effective. In this delegation, the focus is on results and not on methods. So in this delegation, the producers are allowed to choose their methods and they are held responsible. So they feel that they are solely responsible for results. So this is quite time taking process initially, but it's very useful in the long run. This normally involves mutual understanding of clearly stated expectations in terms of the following 5 parameters. So the first parameter is expected results. So in this case, both the delegator and the producer will be involved in a discussion, and the producer will come up with a statement of what results he wishes to achieve and how the results will look like, and also will agree on a timeline. The next parameter is guidelines. So the manager has to provide certain guidelines and also have to convey any known potential failure paths from his own experience, so that the producer can directly learn from the mistakes of the manager. And then identify people, technical and financial resources that the producer can use to achieve the results. Accountability is explaining how and when, and how often or how frequently the results will be evaluated to determine performance of the producer. Consequences. So under consequences, explain what will be the outcome of the evaluation. It could be both bad and good. Good might be bonuses, rewards and interesting new assignments. So for example, say, how do I delegate it to a person who's not that mature? So in the case where the producer is not mature enough to perform the job, specify fewer expected results. Similarly, provide more guidelines, identify more resources that he can use, and have frequent accountability meetings. And then the consequences need to be applied immediately. However, if the producer is quite mature and is able to handle it well, specify the expected results to be highly challenging and provide fewer guidelines, and you can have less accountability meetings. So the whole idea is to work on your Q2 by effective delegation to people and saying no to Q3 and Q4. Alright, that's all I have in this session. Hope you will apply this wisdom and plan the next week with special focus on Quadrant 2 and delegation. See you all. Thank you. Bye.